Live at the track.
Everybody.
Doug.
Happy Sunday.
No rain today.
It's a nice sunny day today. What would you say, Doug? About 80 degrees in Santa Monica?
And it's going to get hotter, I think.
It's going to get hotter today.
The sun's pretty strong, I feel. That's why I have this type of hat.
You're wearing your Manny Pacquiao shirt?
Yeah, you know, I'm not picking him.
Just out of respect, like his shirt says, right?
His shirt says respecto. You got to respect this man. 40 years old, and he's fighting an undefeated 30-year-old world title holder who, in my opinion, is talented.
Who's had
Talented and dangerous.
3 years.
Well, that's
Coach.
true. That's a factor.
Coach wearing Sam Garcia poker,
Yeah.
as opposed to Danny Garcia poker,
It
right?
was Sam's birthday this week.
Oh, happy birthday, Sam.
Also, it was my daughter Lily's birthday.
Last
Happy,
week.
happy birthday, Lily.
And
Happy
my,
birthday,
and my
Lily.
mother's birthday.
Oh, wow.
Same day.
Wow.
Same day as Lily? Wow, nice.
Say
And
hello to this one. I have my daughter here.
Jeannie?
It's not her birthday, but
with the rabbit ears? Are those rabbit ears?
yeah.
No, they're panda.
Oh, panda ears.
And
Good. Oh, that goes
Jeannie,
with
Jeannie
the...
beat us in the first 100.
That
Tom
goes...
got revenge for the old guys.
You made me lose.
Oh, yeah, blame Dad.
So yesterday,
coaching.
Yeah,
Tom
great
raced,
ones.
our friend Ron has a son, we call him A, who's 9 or 10 years old. And Tom raced him in a 200-meter, and Tom beat him by a hair.
By a hair.
But it was fast.
So you had to lean in, photo finish, what they
It
call it?
was a photo.
It was a photo finish, yeah.
Don't rematch him because he's going to be
I
better.
know,
in
he's
rematch.
gonna be training now, right?
Yeah.
You're getting
Hey.
older, he's getting younger.
Speaking of rematches, congratulations to Ryota Murata.
Murata, right?
I did not
big,
see that type of performance in his rematch with
big
Rob
win in
Grant.
Japan. For a style that really was not suited for him in the first fight.
Right.
He made some adjustments and really came back strong. It was second round.
Grant was so dominant
TKO.
last October, I
Right.
believe it was.
I was there for that fight.
You were at the, yeah, that's
I was
right,
at
because
the
the talk was
talk-
that,
that was the talk.
Murata would take care of business,
Right.
and for New Year's, we would have Triple G
Yeah.
versus Murata,
That was the
who's
talk.
a superstar in Japan.
Right.
So careful.
Because he was an Olympic gold medalist. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
Good.
see
It's like
live.
karate.
Good reactions. We got the soccer guys out here too.
You got better feet than I do.
So now we also have maybe Triple G and Murata. Could be.
Well, we've spoken about Murata in the past, so
Yeah.
now with his win over Brandt, getting that
Oh.
WBA title back, it could be back. It would be interesting to go to Japan and open up that market for Triple G.
Have you ever been to a fight card, professional boxing card anywhere in Japan?
In Japan, no. Japan actually is one of the few countries I've never been to in my life.
It's an
So I'm looking
experience.
forward to that.
It's a good
'Cause,
experience.
Ioka
yeah.
had a good win there. He just won that WBO
Yep.
flyweight title.
Making him a 4-division
Super
world
flyweight
holder.
title, sorry,
Yes,
super flyweight
WBO
title.
115-pound
That's
title.
right, yeah. Over
Yeah.
Palikte. Palikte fought on our Superfly
And
3 show.
And he stopped Palikte, who was
Yeah.
a huge Filipino
Right.
fighter, guy from the Philippines who
Yeah.
could probably fight at 122 comfortably.
Yeah, and he trained here in Vegas, where he trained in Vegas for that fight.
Ioka did.
Ioka did, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I like Ioka.
Tell us about the fight at the stub.
Oh yeah, you were at the Stub Hub at
I
the
was.
what is it now? The Health Park Dignity.
Dignity Health
Dignity-
Sports Park.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
believe that's what
Yeah.
it is. And good. I thought the fight of the night was Ronnie Rios' knockout upset over Diego De La Hoya. They fought at 122 pounds. I thought it was the best performance of Ronnie Rios' career. Really happy for him. I think
Big win for him.
I think
Right.
De La Hoya, who was undefeated, highly ranked. I think De La Hoya fought the wrong type of fight because he's got fast hands and good feet. He's a good coordination, and I think Rios sucked him into a firefight, and it didn't work out for De La Hoya. But before the knockout, it was good tit for tat, back and forth,
That's
lots
what-
of heated exchanges.
Coach, that's what you were saying. You said it was a
It was a really
entertaining
good
fight.
Fast pace.
It was a great fight, and the whole DAZN card was incredible.
And you liked the commentators. You liked Todd Grisham and Sergio
Ser-
Mora.
you know,
And
Sergio-
our man Beto Duran doing the post-fight interviews.
Oh, Beto was doing the interviews.
Beto
Oh, nice.
got a great post-fight interview from Joet Gonzalez, who's a shy, quiet kid. But Beto knows these fighters and knows what buttons to push, so he gets the most out of them in those post-fight interviews. And the Joet Gonzalez fight was pretty good against Tino Avila. And I think Gonzalez
Who
looked
won that
really
fight?
good. Joette got a stoppage. Yeah.
First time.
Avila was stopped.
Yeah.
Avila has been defeated once
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
I think
that
he
used
lost
to be,
to Joseph Diaz
He
Jr.
was Max Garcia's fighter.
For a while,
Yeah.
for a brief moment. And he's a talented boxer, but
What happened?
Joette takes no for an answer, man. He's a go-getter.
We had, and then over in the UK, Joe Joyce had a win over Bryant Jennings.
Fun fight.
It was,
that
yeah.
was kind of a shootout for a while. He
Yeah.
beat, Joe Joyce beat Bryant Jennings.
Right.
Right. I'm thinking of Daniel Dubois.
Oh, Dubois,
Nathan
right.
Norman.
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
the shootout.
Right. That
fun.
was a back and forth in the
And
beginning.
Dubois, I like him. Of the British heavyweight up and comers, I've looked at his body, his size, his athleticism, but also his age. He's 21 years old, very young for a heavyweight.
Right.
So I always viewed him as the British heavyweight with the most upside.
So he won the British title.
Yes, he did.
British
That's like the
Championship.
oldest. That's the oldest title in
Is that considered
championship title?
is that the
in
Lonsdale?
professional boxing? Yes.
That's the Lonsdale title?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's got a picture of Lord Lonsdale.
Right,
on
right,
it.
yeah.
And it used to be like 24 karat gold. It used to be like solid gold.
I've seen those belts. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're nice.
that's the oldest.
Not as nice as the ring
Championship
belt,
title.
but they're nice.
The ring belt is like a world title.
There
That's
you
the
go.
gold standard for world championship.
Right. This is
How
a
old is
British champion.
Almost 100 years old. The first ring champion was Jack Dempsey, awarded that belt in 1922.
22. Oh, so we're coming up. Are you guys going to do something for the 100-year
We have
anniversary?
to, right? We got to do something. Yeah, we got to
You got to
start
make
having
the
meetings
you got to
about
make the
that.
100-year anniversary belt.
Ooh.
There you go.
See, you
See?
think like a promoter, man. I
I
didn't
gotta
even
help
think about
help
that.
you
I
guys
was
out
like,
over there
yeah.
with the promotional ideas.
Hell yeah. I
Yeah.
like that. Jeez, wow.
And then I was up in Big Bear, so we had the 4th of July fireworks. In fact, here at
Big
Santa
Bear
Monica
does
College.
that? I guess.
Yeah, they do it over the lake, and the college had a big show on that Saturday night. But I was up there watching Story Boachuk sparring, and he had
What a
some great sparring with Michel Soro.
That's
Soro
the best.
is fighting this weekend in France
I
for
think
a
Soro was a former
junior middleweight title.
European
Yeah.
middleweight champ,
Well,
and maybe junior.
He lost. Ironically, he's trained by Abel Sanchez now, but he lost to an Abel Sanchez trained Bizongurov. Is his only loss over in Ukraine. I was
he's
actually
lost
over there.
since that fight. He lost to that.
Oh, he lost since then also.
Cool K guy.
Jack Cool K? Oh, you did?
No.
I don't
The
think-
guy who had a draw with Arislandi Lara earlier this year. Castellanos?
I don't know if he had a draw.
It's an
but,
Argentine guy.
But he's fighting. Soro's fighting for I think a WBA junior
Soro's
middleweight title.
badass.
He can really fight. But that sparring was really high level sparring.
I've seen that. I've seen
up
those
there.
before.
Murat Gassiev was up there. A lot of great fighters were up there. And Boachuk now is fighting on the Hollywood Fight Nights.
Yes.
Right, July 28th.
It's
Coach-
basically that show is like the El Flaco show.
That's the El Flaco
And
knockout
I
show.
like it because he shows us something different each fight.
Right.
And you guys are doing right by him by keeping him busy. It's like since he's turned pro, it's a 6-bout a year schedule.
Fighting 16-3 Fernando Marin.
That's good.
Solid
cat.
Solid guy. First 10-round
Young
fight.
guy.
First
Yeah,
10-round
first
fight
10
for
round.
El Flaco.
Good. That's good. Can you tell us who else is going to be on that card?
Mario
I should know.
Ramos is going to be on the show. Adrian Corona is going to be on the show.
Fighter. He has to work though. He has to work for his.
Marco
victory.
Deckman is coming off of
Uh-oh.
a layoff, and he's trained by
The
Freddie
cruiserweight.
Roach. Yeah, trained by
Yeah.
Freddie Roach, and Marco's going to be on the show.
Who was the famous actor from Germany? He was Knight Rider. He's got a Hasselhoff.
David
thing
Hasselhoff.
going. Yeah.
He's
Exactly.
got a big female following. Marco
Yeah,
Deckman
he's got
coming out to the Hollywood Night Club.
David Hasselhoff.
Yeah,
in
and then
boxing.
Philly Rubalcaba is going to be back on the show.
Yeah. All right. That's fun.
So we got a lot of talented fighters. No women on this particular
So
show.
Steve Kim will be happy.
Yeah, Steve.
Maybe he'll show up.
Yeah. And there's going to be an open workout. Oh, this is breaking news. We haven't announced it yet, Coach, but Monday, Doug, and we'll see if you can go. I haven't told you yet. Monday at Ben Lira's
South El Monte.
South El Monte Recreation Center. We're going to have media training for Boachuk and Gassiev and Adrian Corona. And Gassiev.
So all you people who keep asking me, if you're in the Southern California area, you ask me, what's Gassiev going to look like as a heavyweight? You'll find out. You'll see.
He's
footage
fighting
of him.
that following week. He's fighting on Saturday the 27th on DAZN out in Texas. He's fighting Joey Dwyko. Right.
That's not easy.
That's not easy for your first, yeah. But he looks great. Solid 225 pounds of muscle
I was
up
going to ask,
there.
what's he walking around
he looks
at, or
really,
what's he training
he
at?
looks really solid.
225.
Does a great job with that, yeah. Just naturally putting on
He's thick, man.
knockout
Dude's
power,
thick,
yeah. So
he's an interesting
so
addition
look out
to the
for
heavyweight division.
look out for Murat Gassiev. That's Saturday night in Texas on DAZN. And then Sunday is Boachuk, and Murat is going to be at our show with Abel, also at the Hollywood Fight Night. So you'll have two legendary trainers, Abel Sanchez and Freddie Roach.
All right, because Roach trains Deckman.
Freddie Roach
right?
trains Marco Deckman. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
And Manny Pacquiao, actually.
Yes, and let's not forget Cynthia Conte.
And Cynthia Conte,
She's the hostess.
another Philippine connection.
And she brings her friends who are all lovely. So that's cool.
They're all very lovely in the Hollywood nightclubs.
And the Flushing Flash, former WBC featherweight champion, Kevin Kelly, will be helping me out.
Yeah, on the commentary.
Yeah.
And that'll be on the live stream 360promotions.us and the YouTube, the Facebook,
Sunday
and the
boxing
YouTube.
is cool.
Yeah.
We
Starting
need
at
more boxing off of Friday and Saturday. We need
4 p.m. Is the
Thursdays.
stream start
Yeah.
on Sunday, and there are some tickets still available at the Avalon. That's at 360promotions.us. You can see the ticket link there.
And the food is good there too.
Yeah. You've eaten there a few times, right, Dave?
No, I'm just hungry, and I usually don't eat that stuff. But it's really
And you're very critical on the food. And we have the hot dogs there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, they have a full menu, but hot dogs are very popular.
I'm gonna have to order.
Yeah.
So I have a couple questions.
Oh
Wanna
yeah.
get into the
hit
questions?
me with it, man.
Some questions, maybe.
If there's any
Call.
questions.
So we
from
got
people-
let's do the
Chime in.
so we got Pacquiao Thurman coming up this week, right? That's on
Yes,
Saturday,
that's the big- yeah,
July
that's the big fight.
July 20th,
Yeah.
and
Las Vegas.
who else is on that?
And that's a
on that
Fox
show?
pay-per-view. Caleb Plant makes
Oh,
the
that's
first
right.
defense
Caleb
of
Plant
his
against
IBS
Mike
super
Lee.
middleweight title. That's
That's
right.
right.
Mike
They
Lee.
had a media training here in Churchill. Mike Lee.
Oh, Mike Lee had a media trip?
Yeah, at Churchill. Yeah. That was last Wednesday. Yeah, or Thursday. I think it was Thursday.
I think it was Thursday.
Yeah.
So Mike Lee's on the
Oh, there's a good bantamweight fight on there. Louis Neri's fighting, right?
Oh, Neri's fighting on
Yeah,
that
who
one?
is Neri? He's fighting Juan Carlos Payano.
Neri's with Zanfer still, isn't he?
Yes, he is, but they're working. I think
They worked out a deal with PBC.
they're working with the PBC. Yeah, because he's been on his last two fights have been on PBC cards. So I think what they're going to do is, if Neri takes care of business, which he should, because he's a beast, he'll be the mandatory for that guy who won in Kazakhstan, Ubali.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think Ubali is affiliated with Richard Schaefer, and he's got some connection to Roy Jones Jr.
Got
too.
it. Okay.
But he's good. He was maybe he was an Olympian, like Moroccan or something like that. He speaks French, but Ubali's a good, strong fighter. He just headlined a show in Kazakhstan.
Coach, what questions you got?
That's okay. You might be able to get this one, Tom.
All right. I'm going to put my memory to test here.
Okay, so this fight was...
You guys stick to my era, those early 90s, early to
Okay,
mid 90s.
I got it. This was July 11th, 1996, Madison Square Garden. Disqualification.
That's easy. Riddick Bowe.
Oh, and Galata.
Winning, just
Galata,
two
yeah.
against Andrew
Right.
Galata. Yeah.
Do you remember?
Michael Katz called him the foul pole.
Yeah, that was a good name.
But
Yeah.
that was really. You remember? Like
I remember
it just
watching it
happened,
live on
right?
HBO, thinking I can't believe what I'm seeing. This
Right,
is a riot.
I know.
Remember,
wild stuff.
was it Rock
Okay.
Newman was going
Rock
nuts?
Newman,
Yeah.
And the
well,
guy-
and they had short tempers.
And the
Big
guys
Daddy
with
crew.
the guys with the
Rock
walkie-talkies, they
Yeah.
weren't,
Okay.
they
Yeah,
weren't so
remember
happy.
they pummeled the fan man.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't mess with Team Big Daddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did they ever have a rematch?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. And how soon after?
I'm gonna say about 6 months,
Yeah. Exactly.
and it was another DQ.
Same thing happened.
What round was that?
Oh, I don't remember.
That's
I'm
where
gonna say like 8.
Yeah.
The first one was at Madison Square Garden. The second one I think was
Yeah.
probably Vegas.
So the first one was, what round was that?
I don't remember.
7. Second one was 9. So
9.
that was pretty weird, though. 2 up, back.
And
back
Riddick
to back.
Bowe was wasted after that,
Huh.
and I think he announced his retirement after that.
Remember?
Not long after.
Remember those videos with Lou Duva and Galata hitting the heavy bag, and they taped it off and said you can't hit below this line for the rematch.
Galata was a head case, though.
For the rematch,
Galata couldn't handle success. If he was doing really well in a fight that he wasn't supposed to win, he would
He'd
sabotage
self-destruct.
himself. He did that against Michael Grant, and he had a great camp, physically speaking, up in Big Bear. And I remember I wanted to interview him, either for a story on Max Boxing or House of Boxing, whatever, House of Boxing or Max Boxing, or I was writing a story for a fight program. I can't remember what, but I got on the phone with Roger Bloodworth, who was an assistant trainer to a lot of those main events fighters. And Bloodworth couldn't get him on the phone. Like he didn't want to talk to media. Like he was insecure, and I could hear him moan and groan in the background, going, "No,
like I don't want to do it."
And Bloodworth, dude who took no shit from St. Louis, little dude. You remember?
Yeah, I
Bloodworth,
remember.
right?
I remember Roger
Come
Bloodworth.
on,
Sure.
man.
Yeah.
Get on the phone.
Yeah.
Stop being a baby.
Yeah.
Get on the phone right now. This is part of your job as a professional athlete. You have to talk to the media. Get on the phone right now. And I could hear him go, no. I'm like, leave him alone. It's okay. Yeah. But that also kind of let me know, like, he was mentally, there was something amiss there.
Wasn't there,
And sure enough, he started that fight with Michael Grant. Great. Dropped Michael Grant twice in the first round. And was outboxing him.
Grant was a beatable fighter.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, Grant was exposed in that victory over Galata, but Galata just couldn't deal with it.
Right.
And he,
was
basically
also
got overwhelmed late in that fight.
He was exposed against Lennox Lewis too.
Oh, I knew Lennox.
That was the easy one to pick.
Yeah. A lot of people like Andrew Galata in that fight just because they were hating on Lennox.
Right.
Okay, I got another question.
All right.
What was Roberto Duran's last fight?
Last
I'll
fight.
tell you who the date was.
Who was the opponent?
July 14th, 2001. Yeah. Who was the opponent? Where was it?
Do you know he turned pro in the late 60s? So Duran fought in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. 5 decades.
This is his last fight.
Wow. I have no idea.
You know the guy, though.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
No, but he was a big-time fighter.
Was it at welterweight?
Oh, I know. It's William Joppy, right? No, that wasn't, because Joppy. I refused to watch that fight.
One of Don King's shows.
Huh.
It was in Denver.
Was it Hector Camacho?
Yep.
So you got the
Lost a
second.
decision.
You got the second one.
Okay. So what were Duran's?
I should have known Duran was not going to go out like that,
Okay.
losing to William Joppy, getting knocked out by William Joppy. That wasn't his last fight.
Excuse me. Okay, what were Duran's 2 previous fights before the last one with Macho Camacho? I'll give you a hint. His last fight, which he won, the fight before the Macho Camacho fight, he won a 12-round decision against a guy whose brothers were in the boxing business.
P.J. Goosen.
That's very good.
Nobody was going to get that one. No one was going to.
Hey,
no one remembers P.J. Goosen
that's
was a
good.
thing.
He was pretty good, though.
He wasn't bad.
Yeah,
No.
he was okay.
Yeah.
He dated Mia St. John, I think, at one time.
Did he?
Yeah.
Not too shabby.
Remember Jimmy the Stump Buffalo?
Yes.
Remember him?
Yeah.
He fought on some of those country club shows.
Now, the fight before
Remember you?
You can't make names up like
the
that.
fight before P.J. Goosen was this San Francisco guy who wore like a little beanie.
Yeah.
Which is, you know,
San Francisco guy?
it was not bad.
Yeah.
He had a little run there.
Yeah. But he would also take on
Yeah.
guys who were way past their prime. The guys with names that he beat.
exactly.
Yeah.
But he didn't beat Duran. He lost
Yeah.
decision. You know.
I forgot.
You know.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And he would write poetry too. he was kind of a character.
Like Keith Thurman?
Total character.
Now this dude that Duran beat,
Oh.
I can't remember.
You want me to give you his first name? You might get it with his first name. Pat.
Yeah, I can't remember the last name.
L. Starts with L.
What?
Starts with L. Pat.
I'm blanked out, man.
Well, I'm going
I took this.
no.
I took this drug. I took this anti-energy drink called NeuroSleep last night. I drank like maybe a fourth of it.
Anti-energy?
Well, you know how there's energy drinks, right?
Yeah.
So now they have drinks that are supposed to relax you and help you sleep.
Okay.
And I got this stuff. It's called NeuroSleep. It's called Mellow Mango. I should have read the label.
What was in the Mellow Mango?
It's like melatonin and magnesium, but there's some other stuff that it's like they just made it up. It's got like a trademark thing. Like who knows? You know, like in the 90s, there were energy drinks over the counter.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, it's just caffeine and taurine and whatever.
Right.
And then, guarana extract. And then it's like ephedrine. You know, it's like a real drug in there.
Right.
So there's something in this NeuroSleep drink. I'm giving them a commercial, what I'm doing here.
It dulled your
It
neurons?
knocked me out, and I was very groggy. I'm still kind of like shaky, like I'm not myself. But
That's why you were slow on the track today.
Yes, and I had the most bizarre dreams, like weird, tripped out, like druggy dreams.
Any of that CBC oil in there?
So, oh, you know what? That's supposed to be healthy. I don't know, man.
I don't know if it helps your memory, though.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, maybe. I don't know what, but we poured it out this morning.
Okay.
I had half a bottle left, and I'm like, this is
No good.
hardcore right here. I can't deal with it. So,
Okay.
Pat L. I don't know. I can't. I'm
What was
sad.
his last
Do you
name?
want us to call 911?
What's the next letter?
But let me know. It's going to drive me crazy. If you
What's the
tell me.
next letter? Because I think I might.
The guy's name?
Yeah.
Pat,
wait.
remember that. You know who he is. You can
can't
picture
remember,
him, right?
man. I
So
know.
does the way he dressed.
I
with the
remember
hat.
everything. I have the image.
Yeah.
I remember talking to people from
Yeah.
the Bay Area.
What
who
day
went
was the
to
fight?
his Fights.
What year was the fight?
This was June 16th, 2000.
I can't remember.
I should know his name too.
What?
Pat Lawler.
Lawler, yeah.
That's
Oh,
right.
God. I mean, he was the
Right.
He fought down here.
No, I know. He used to write silly poetry.
Is he related to Robbie Lawler?
No, but he's a big
There's
friend
a-
of Jack Fisk. Okay.
Late
so-
great
Yeah,
boxing
okay, I give you
writer.
this one.
The San Francisco
Okay,
Chronicle.
this was the.
Who Dave
I remember Pat Lawler because I think we were looking at him for Ovacar at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd fight
And
all those guys.
Ovacar would have
That's what
boxed
he
the shit
did.
out of
Yeah,
him.
that's why I remember that name.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one.
At welterweight. Yeah.
I was at this fight, July 8th, 1959, the first fight ever at the LA Sports Arena.
1959.
Oh, this is a bantamweight fight. This is Jose Becerra
Yeah.
beating Alphonse Halimi
Yeah.
for, I think, the WBC bantamweight title.
That was at the
Oh,
sports.
shoot, maybe it was the world
That's the
bantamweight
very
title.
first fight
That
ever
was
there.
that was the sports arena,
Yeah.
Coach.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the first fight at the Olympic Auditorium? What year?
You know, the Olympic Auditorium was made for the Olympic Games
32
in
Olympics.
the 19
In the
early
30s.
30s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
here in LA. So
Well-
it's old. Like, so maybe its first boxing match was an amateur. Was Olympic.
And
boxing.
you were at the last fight at the Sports Arena. I saw you there.
Oh yeah. Who headlined that? That was Herrera. Just got knocked out by Virgil Ortiz Jr. fighting Hank Lundy out of Philly.
Mauricio Herrera.
Mauricio, yeah.
Okay, so let me
El
ask you
Maestro.
this.
So wait, Coach. So that was the first fight, 1959,
Yeah.
at the sports
Yeah.
arena. What was the first fight you ever went to?
I remember. I was 10 years old. My dad took me to the Olympic Auditorium.
At the
I don't
Olympic.
know who fought. Just know
Was he managed by Jackie McCoy in the main event?
I don't think he was born then.
I know, not then.
So I remember going in with my dad. We walked in, and then I remember just going around, and then it had these things, and then it had an aisle going down. And I looked. I swear, it's like I just saw it an hour ago. It's
Wow.
that vivid, and all you can do is see the smoke.
All the cigar
above the
smoke, right?
ring.
Yeah.
And then I remember watching these guys in the preliminary fights, and they all looked. They had sort of weird costumes on. So I
Oh, like
just-
leggings, like.
No, just sort of like their pants were sort of, the
Long.
shorts were a little longer.
Yeah.
And they all had socks that came up pretty high. And, I don't know, they just were just funny.
So it was kind of like Cholo style.
Man,
They were food.
Crap out of each
That
other.
Olympic Auditorium was made for boxing, right? It was a
Yeah.
perfect venue for
Totally.
boxing.
Yeah. So I think it.
What year?
In the 32 Olympics, that's where the wrestling and the boxing.
Oh,
matches
okay.
took
Yeah,
That's where it
yeah,
took place.
wrestling was a
Wow.
big deal.
Yeah.
So that was in 46.
1946 was the first fight. Right?
That's what I went to,
Nice.
and you know, all my friends and their dads watched all the fights. Every Wednesday night was Pat for Ribbon.
Yeah.
Every Friday night was Gillette. Saturday they had them on ABC with.
I got a trivia
The
question.
wide world of sports.
1946, who was the all-time great fighter who won his first world title that year?
46?
Yeah.
46?
And
It was up for grabs. It was a vacant world title.
Was that Joe Louis?
It's a good guess, but Lewis was well into his title reign.
Oh.
He was late into his title reign by
Was it Tony
1946.
Zales?
No, Zell's a little bit earlier.
Was it-
Zell's
Was it Ray Robinson?
yes.
All right.
Very good.
No.
Who did he fight?
Oh, no.
Very good, underrated guy who never won a world title from Youngstown, Ohio, and often gets overlooked when people talk about the standouts from Youngstown, Ohio, but he was sensational.
Boom Boom? No.
Boom Boom Mancini is like the guy everybody talks about from
Right.
Youngstown, Ohio, but there's been a lot of fighters. You know, on the track we were talking about L.C. Morgan.
Right.
He's out of Youngstown, Ohio.
Yeah.
But this guy was a welterweight, an African-American welterweight, was one of those guys so talented he often fought the better middleweights of the 40s. But that's who Sugar Ray Robinson beat to win his first world title, the welterweight title,
Huh.
and it was by decision. And this guy had Robinson on the canvas.
Oh,
Do you know? Tommy Bell.
that was Tommy Bell. I wouldn't have known
I
that.
know that.
Hell of a fighter.
But there were a lot of guys like that.
Don Familton used to speak very highly of
Yeah.
Tommy Bell.
Yeah.
Familton, an Ohio guy.
Someone was asking earlier, what's your pick, Doug, for Pacquiao Thurman?
I'm going to go Keith Thurman by decision. Maybe if he can get to Pacquiao's body, he can get a stoppage. But I think Pacquiao's had a good camp. He's very confident. He's got so much experience. And I think Thurman will respect Pacquiao. Like
His speed and power looks right there. For Manny.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Thurman by decision because I don't think Thurman's gonna stand in there. I think he's gonna move and try to pot shot on the fly. And that's bad for older fighters. Older fighters don't like to.
It'll be interesting to
chase
see
you
how
down.
how the shoulder holds up and mentally, right, Coach? That's what you were saying.
The odds should probably be 10-1 in favor of Thurman.
Can't though, given his run, his activity, right?
But because Thurman hasn't fought, I don't know what his motivation is.
Yeah.
I mean, Manny is sort of a mirage his last two fights a little bit.
See, that's
Still,
what I'm thinking.
still giving him some kind of weird chance. It's probably off of my heart.
Sure.
I want him to win so badly. And Thurman's let me down. I really like him. He's smart. He's articulate. Seems like a really good guy.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't have the motivation. And I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I mean, we heard from Danny Garcia's dad.
Right.
Why should we take tough fights when we're getting all this money?
Yeah.
He said it.
Yeah.
It's true. So here, I have another one. On
Okay.
Jose Becerra, and Halimi, did they have a rematch?
Yes, I think they did. And Becerra knocked him out again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Halimi was a good fighter.
And that was that fight was at LA Coliseum, which I was there too. And
You've been to Coliseum fights?
yeah. Jerry Corey had his pro debut there. Not on that card, but
Were you there?
Yeah.
You saw.
Yeah.
So you saw Jerry Quarry's pro debut.
Yeah.
Jerry
Yeah.
Quarry was
Hey,
from.
did he have a buzz? Like, did you like, oh, hey, this kid is talented. Okay.
Oh my God. So he started out. He was changing tires at the Greyhound bus station in Bellflower. That's what he did.
It's from Bakersfield, right? Corey brothers.
Well, he fought in Bakersfield.
Oh, okay.
He's from Bellflower.
Oh, Bellflower. Okay.
And his dad was Jack, who was just a monster.
Oh.
And Jerry Quarry was incredible. So he fought on that card, on a different card. But that card at the Coliseum when Becerra knocked out Halimi again.
Yeah.
One of the best fights of all time. That's when Battling Tories fought your man.
Oh, fought Carlos Ortiz. Wow.
Battling Torres.
Torres was 18 years old, undefeated.
Very popular.
The fight, he stopped Battling Torres in the 10th round, but it was even going into the 10th round, and he just wore him out.
Battling Torres is a nice nickname.
It's great.
Boy,
Great
Carlos
name.
Ortiz, I mean, just like.
He's a great fighter.
So who did Carlos Ortiz almost train?
Oscar De La Hoya. Yeah.
That's a good piece of trivia.
Yep.
Because of his dad. Didn't work out.
Who did Carlos Ortiz show how to properly hit a heavy bag?
You.
There you go. Trained by the best,
Yeah,
Doug
at
Fisher.
Gleason's gym. Yeah, 92, 93.
Hey, you know, he probably could beat a lot of guys. Seriously.
He's awesome.
I mean, that's just incredible.
Yeah.
You know he's in shape. He knows
Yeah.
exactly what to do.
He's probably one of the oldest living former champions, boxing champions. He's got to be good.
Carlos Ortiz.
Yeah, Carlos Ortiz, guys like Tony DeMarco. Can't think of who. I mean, they've got to be. The Jose Napoles, maybe.
Yeah. You see where DeMarco fought last night? This week.
Tony DeMarco, the guy from Mexico, from TJ.
He was
Can't
good,
believe
though.
it. Yeah, at lightweight,
He's
10
still
years
fighting.
ago. Now he's still fighting. He's fighting Jamal James. He's a good welterweight from Minnesota.
So, you want to do one more question, Coach, and then we'll wrap up?
Less is more.
I'm going to try to. Yeah, less is more. So after Doug's 2.5-hour interview, we decided.
That was totally my fault.
No, it wasn't.
It was. I talked too much.
No, but I tell you, speaking of that, someone saying, taking the high road, that was
Kameda.
Kameda.
Yesterday.
Kameda, that was
I
great.
mean, the fight was, wasn't close. The other guy really took over. After the fight, Kamada said, "Hey, he won easily."
Yeah.
He was way better than me. He took the high road. It was so refreshing.
Oh, that's good.
And he feels better.
Yeah.
Everyone feels better. And, everyone in the world, if anything happens, the first thing out of their mouth is not my fault.
Right.
And the easiest way to neutralize everyone is to say, "Hey, it's my fault. I screwed up. Let's go on." It works every time.
Yeah.
There you go.
And the football coaches you really admire, they do that. Like at the press
Sean-
conference, the post-game press conference. And
Who's your favorite
something
football
happens.
coach?
It's not even close.
Yeah.
Right here in L.A., right?
And Doug was sitting in front of Doug at the fights. And
Lomachenko Krola.
Everyone kept going up to him like he was the Pope.
Right.
And Doug wonders who's this guy.
I thought he was a dignitary from Ukraine.
The Rams, a lot of the Rams coaches are Triple G fans.
Sean McVay.
Yeah. Sean McVay, yeah.
He's the youngest coach in the history of the NFL.
Snazzy
30 years
dresser,
old.
too.
But his grandfather and his uncle both were involved with the 49ers. And they had their run.
Oh, right. And then
So
he
this
came,
kid's been around him forever.
Yeah.
The kid's so smart. He's so good.
Wow.
Couple people.
They just got to get rid of the quarterback.
Couple of questions written in here. Doug, has Yarde got Kovalev at the right time? Can he pull off the upset?
I don't know. He's not going to get
Be tough
Kovalev in the right place.
in Russia, yeah.
Yeah, he's fighting him in Kovalev's hometown.
And that's
Kovalev seems
that takes
to
a
have-
long time to get there.
Yeah, and so Kovalev seems to have gotten his act together. He seems to have meshed well with Buddy McGirt.
Yeah.
And McGirt is reminding him that, hey, he's a good boxer. Work everything off the jab. I don't know. See, Yarde. I like Yarde. I'm high on Yarde. I saw Yarde fight live. Actually, called his only fight in the U.S., and that was on the undercard of Liam Smith versus Canelo
That's a mandatory
Alvarez.
fight, right? WBO mandatory, I think.
Yes, it is. He's been pushed up the WBO rankings, but if you look at his record, he hasn't defeated a real contender yet. So he's a bit of a question mark.
So
but physically speaking, he's explosive. He's very talented. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's a smart guy, and with his power, if he can get to Kovalev's chin or body, who knows what will happen. David Hay believes that he can actually outpoint the Russian veteran. That he's got that type of boxing talent, but I think that remains to be seen.
You're going with Kovalev.
I'm going to go with I'm going to go with the chalk. I'm going to go with
Because
the veteran.
we were just talking about how difficult it is to travel.
Yeah.
Like Brandt went to Japan,
Yes.
fight Murata.
Yeah.
You saw Anthony Joshua came here to the U.S. what happened there,
tough.
carrying the promotion. When Triple G went to fight Brooke, there was a lot of things there in London that weren't in his favor.
Right. He wasn't used to
Logistics
it.
and just a lot of different
Yeah.
things. You know, the food, the hotels. You know, it's a lot
traffic.
of training, traffic. Yeah.
Which does suck in
Yeah.
London.
And you saw the fighters like we were just talking about Super Six. You know, where they traveled and
They got their L's
lost.
when they were on foreign soil,
Foreign
whether it was
soil,
Andre Jarrell against Frotch in Nottingham, or Frotch against Mikkel Kessler in
Right.
Denmark. You know, it's tough. You know, because it's not only different. You know, a lot of times the officials are going to bend over
That's true.
backwards for the hometown hero.
There's a mythical matchup question versus Sambu Kambe. Oops.
Columbe is all wrong for Tony.
Just switch the camera position. We don't need that.
I give Columbe at his best at 160 pounds a good shot of beating James Toney because he was a stick and move master. And Tony's at his best when somebody's standing in front of him, even if they're a master like Mike McCallum or if they're coming forward. And Columbe didn't give you that. So I'm going to go with the mythical matchup upset special and say Columbe on points.
Wow.
Probably an unpopular decision, but Columbe is very underrated.
James Toney was one of the most talented, athletically gifted fighters
Yes.
I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy, he was a football star in high school.
Quarterback. He
yeah.
didn't have an extensive amateur
Coach
background.
knows.
Yeah.
Coach knows because he knows Jackie Callan really well.
Yeah.
From Detroit, Michigan.
And Coach knew his trainer, who was a great trainer, Bill Miller.
You know what his nickname was?
Bill Pops.
Bill Miller. Yeah, Pops Miller. Yeah, that's right.
I'm sure
What
James
was
Toney
his
called him
passion?
Pops. Jazz music.
Got it.
There we go. All right.
Oh, look at you.
Well, on
Okay,
that note,
I got
okay.
one question.
All right.
Maybe Tom can get this too.
I had to make up for not being able to name Pat Walker. I'm mad at myself for that.
But I do blame the drugs I took last night.
You have an excuse this time.
Yeah, over-the-counter drugs.
I don't know if it'll
still,
work while you're driving, but it'll work here on the podcast.
You know, they warn you on that bottle.
Yeah,
Do not
don't
operate
drive?
heavy equipment.
That's what it
Don't
says?
drive.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not
They
a
say
good-
Stay in your house after you take it.
Stay in your bed.
Yeah, no, really. I should have read the fine print. I didn't know it was going to be that strong.
Don't start texting.
It said mellow mango, and it does taste good. I'm like, it's gonna be mellow. It's gonna mellow out, not knock you out. Have you, experiencing fever dreams?
Okay, I'm going to save this one for next week.
Okay.
Next week?
It's okay. Yeah,
All right.
we got to.
Okay, everyone, we're going to sign
got it.
off.
Shorter is better than longer.
Yes,
there we
leave
go.
them wanting more.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys at the
Anyway,
fight.
Should I book my tickets for Japan?
We'll see. We'll see what happens here in the next couple of days. But you should book your tickets for Hollywood Fight Nights.
I got
Dave always comes, always buys like
It's the best.
6 tickets, front row seats.
He's one of the VIPs.
Yeah,
He's one of the celebrity guests.
yeah. It's, July 28th at the Avalon Hollywood.
It's always a
Tickets
lot of
are
fun.
on sale, and it'll be streamed on the 360 Facebook.
And Boachuk's
360
a real guy.
Promotions.
Boachuk's a real prospect.
He was a prospect for Ring Magazine.
Yeah,
right?
he was featured in our
Featured.
New Faces
Right.
column, and I think by the end of this year he'll be a contender.
14-0 with 14 knockouts,
Yeah.
and these.
Hey, is
these
he
are,
ranked in any of the sanctioning organizations yet? Not top 10.
We're going to be working on that.
He's
pretty
getting
soon,
there.
Yeah. Yep.
You know,
He's
he's
getting
looking
there.
better every time.
Yeah.
And the great thing about El Flaco is he mixes up his body shots, his head shots,
Brilliantly.
non-stop punching.
Brilliantly, though.
Doesn't get
intelligently.
tired. It's that Big Bear fitness up there,
Yeah.
conditioning. All right, well, we're going to sign off.
Have a great week.
Coach, drive like you just won the lottery.